Welcome back to Kryptolytix, giving you a fresh take on crypto analytics, and this is a crypto recap, where I cover some of the things that are going on in the crypto space, so let's jump in. Alright, so here we are on the cycle chart. We're looking at a parabola right now. On Bitcoin, we've smashed all-time highs, we just keep putting new ones in, so yeah, we're sitting at around 72, just under 72k at the moment, and we got to a top of 72,453 on the index chart, so there's probably some wicks that are higher than that on Bitcoin Perps on some other exchanges, but this is just a spot index chart. So anyway, I've just drawn in a parabola. That's pretty much what Bitcoin's doing at this stage. It's going absolutely bonkers, and you know, we're not even at the halving yet. So this is the first time in Bitcoin's history that it's put in a new all-time high before the halving. So that's interesting. Pretty bullish, I guess. What can I say about this? I mean, price discovery, in terms of targets and stuff, you know, as I said in the last video, the only thing I can think of is the 1.618. So, you know, there's some people throwing around some pretty crazy numbers. I like to sandbag a little bit more, but with the flows, and I'll cover the flows in just a minute, like they're just absolutely insane. So who knows what the targets will be. We'll just have crazy amounts of money flowing in because we have access to the kind of money we've never had access to before, at least in terms of price. So the only thing that will slow this down is if there's some sort of lowered liquidity across the spectrum. So that would probably be the only thing that would slow us down, and that might put us into like a sideways or a sort of grind or something like that. So it might be like, you know, the last cycle, so the previous cycle, not the last cycle, but the one prior, where we had these massive pump just before the halving, and then we came back down at it. So that's definitely a possibility. So that would only happen if we had a break in the flows, right? So if there was some sort of global liquidity pause or something to that effect, at least a US liquidity pause potentially, because I think China's injecting more liquidity into their system, and then we've got the Hong Kong ETFs coming, which will be a massive gateway to Chinese liquidity into Bitcoin again since 2017 when BTC China was shut down. The only other thing they've been able to do since then is buy on Paxful, and then Paxful shut down. So basically they haven't had any way to get into Bitcoin since I think Paxful shut down 22. So they've been wanting to buy and have had very few ways to get in. So, I mean, they're on the edge of their seats and waiting to just throw money at this thing. Just because US liquidity slows down doesn't necessarily mean that we won't get price pushing up, but I just don't think maybe the price appreciation will be as intense. So we might get a grind sideways, GBT might still keep selling, and then that's where we might get a small correction, maybe like a 20% pullback down to like around 50 or something like that. But, you know, at this stage, that would have to be what happens in order for this thing to slow down, because without a slowdown in liquidity or some sort of event, we're just going to keep pushing higher. That's the simple fact. So anyway, funding rate doesn't look too crazy. It's heating up a little bit, but it doesn't look too crazy. So, you know, it looks like we're kind of a bit more balanced across the spectrum on longs and shorts. We look at that, and if we compare to open interest, well, this is where things get a little more crazy. Look at this. We've hit an all-time high in open interest. So that's how many perpetuals positions are open. So leverage positions are open. Got an all-time high, and this is US dollars in open interest. So we're hitting around $34 billion right now in open interest. That's insane, because the highest we ever had was the first peak of the previous cycle, and that was 23 billion. 23 billion versus 34 billion. It's 33.94. 33.9. Wow. But the thing is, it's kind of equal, right? So, I mean, we've got all this open interest, but funding rates aren't overly bullish. So I guess that's probably not a bad thing. So we're kind of like balanced on either side. But this kind of open interest, to me, this is like a bit of a red flag, because when I see this sort of stuff, I'm instinctively trained based on some of the courses and education that I've done in the past, that this is a danger sign. But I'm not going to necessarily take it. We might get, you know, some crazy volatility just to shake people out. Big spike up, big spike down, you know, one of these sort of Darth Maul candles if you're looking on the daily. But that's kind of will be a shakeout, and maybe we do a grind sideways, but that's just to shake out some of the open interest. But the thing is, it's not overly long and it's not overly short right now. It's like kind of sitting on both sides, because I feel like 72k was like a target for some people. And I think people were hunting 72k as well, because that's where Gareth Soloway said his short was his acceptance above 72k. So that would be a weekly close above 72k, and his short is still open, if you want to know, and he was not liquidated. So ETH all-time high open interest. Solana open interest. Are you seeing this? What the hell? 745 versus 2 billion. What the? Okay, well, this is people really degenning Solana right now. No wonder the price has been going up, and it's right now hitting a 52-week high as well. It's right now sitting at 153, and it was 155 just before. During Asia session, I'll go into that a little bit more shortly. Let's have a look. We had a little pump in XRP, so nothing too crazy. So maybe that means XRP still got a little gas left in the tank, since it did actually do a small pump yesterday. I don't know who's trading ADA anymore. Look at that. Poor ADA. I'm sure it'll have its time, but that just isn't now. Link, wow, people pretty bullish Link. We've got a bit of a divergence there on the open interest. As price is going up, open interest is going down. It's interesting. I guess that means people may be converting to spot. Anyway, so you get the idea. Like, we got some really high open interest across the board. I'm curious to see what Pepe is. Yeah, that's insane. People, well, it's not insane actually. That's 400 million in open interest, which is not too crazy, but on something like Pepe, that's super degen. Anyway, let's move on. So with that big move, so the move to 72K, I actually expected the BTC dominance to spike up, but we barely made a dent. So this is the Bitcoin dominance. So this is how much of a percentage Bitcoin's market cap takes up in the total crypto market cap. And it's only 54% roughly. And just to get an update on that. Yep, it's 53.7%. So interesting indeed that this just to me shows that their space is maturing, right? Also remaining strong, much stronger than they have in any other prior cycle. This is pivotal, showing established development in the crypto space, and it's giving more credence to the tech component of the sector. I mean, we even see people like Ben Cowan keep talking about how, yeah, alts are all just rotating back into Bitcoin. They're just rotating back into Bitcoin. And I respect Benjamin Cowan, but I just don't see it. Like Solana, there's the select alts have outperformed Bitcoin by an insane amount. Not all, obviously, but there's some select alts which have absolutely smashed Bitcoin so far. And Bitcoin's going crazy, but things like Solana, I swapped a whole bunch of Solana at the start of 2023 in January, and I also staked that as well, and I'll show the progress on that staked Sol as well. And it's up on Bitcoin by like 120, 110% or something like that. So yeah, I mean, just to assume that the alts are all just going to rotate back into Bitcoin, I just don't believe it. I think that's wrong. And I think that most retail see Bitcoin as a boomer coin. And I'm one of the boomers because first time I bought Bitcoin was single digits. So, anyway, that was a long time ago. But it's just one of these things where I'm way more excited about altcoins because the tech in altcoins is far superior to Bitcoin. Just Bitcoin is gold. It's a store of value, fight against inflation. It's a counter trade to banking, etc., etc. It has its list of narratives, but altcoins are like tech stocks, and they're more exciting and they have much more upside and a lot of really cool stuff building out on them. Unlike prior cycles where there was just promise, we actually have real use cases now for altcoins. So not on board with the Bitcoin dominance thesis, but it's still interesting to look at and see, when Bitcoin spikes up, if the Bitcoin dominance is spiking up too. And if it's not, then it's like, well, that's a sign of the overall crypto space maturing, in my opinion. We also have the old rainbow chart, which is a logarithmic regression chart. This one's a bit of fun, as even the publisher states as well. But yes, it's just a logarithmic regression channel. So I've got my own version of it, where anything above here, we're starting to enter the more developed parts of the cycle. But we're still under the median line is still sort of, you can still buy here. And you can still buy above if you want to, but I think we're sort of past the period of buying Bitcoin, as in we are. Personally, I think we are, as retail traders. This is for big investment firms and stuff like that. They can keep buying up and that's fine. They're happy to hold until like 2030, so that's not an issue. But some of us want to cash in and buy property and do different things with our money, so this doesn't appeal to us per se. But yeah, still under the median line, still a decent buying opportunity. Where's the top? Well, this is extreme, $200,000 if it went just straight up from here. But anyway, according to the rainbow chart, it says it's still it's still cheap. No, it's HODL, right? So it's like, don't sell your Bitcoin yet, right? That's what this is saying. Don't sell it yet, so it's not still cheap anymore. So yeah, this was the buying times, and then it's kind of still cheap here, and now it's entered the HODL phase. Now, the next phase up is the bubble, then FOMO intensifies. Sell, seriously, sell. Maximum bubble territory. Whether we get to the top of the max bubble territory, who knows, but we'll still definitely get to one of the overly heated areas. There's no doubt about that. Not a matter of if, but a matter of when. So I think that the bears are kind of in disbelief I love this. This is great. Although this is kind of inaccurate because gold's actually hitting all-time highs. But anyway, another thing that was pretty cool to see is that Bitcoin flipped silver. So how crazy is that? So silver's market cap is $1.38 trillion and Bitcoin is now almost 1.4 trillion. That's crazy. And it's coming for Google next, which, yeah, that's just really goes to show the adoption of Bitcoin, at least the acceptance of it, is well and truly here as it starts to take out some of the big names. Okay, let's have a look at the flows, shall we? So I'm going to look at this in US dollar terms because I think that's more interesting. Now, GBTC sold a massive basket of Bitcoin. They sold 494 million, which is probably the highest amount. And that's why last night we didn't go up, I suppose, or at least over the last couple of days. I think this is just omitting the weekend, but we have the 11th and that was GBTC actually outsold the inflows yesterday. So there you go. Why we got a little bit of a pause, I suppose. It probably hit a target. So I'd say this outflow was exactly when we hit that really high point and we got that big spike down pullback. I think that was the GBTC outflows. But overall, so far, I believe from what I can see here, we've had a total of $9.54 billion in inflows so far. GBTC has actually offloaded a lot. So they've offloaded a total so far of $11 billion, which is just insane. Imagine if they just stopped selling. I don't know when they plan on stop selling. I think it's not too far off, but imagine if they just stopped selling and we had this kind of money coming in. There's like literally very few outflows. Look at this. Look at these guys. IBIT, ARK, BitB. These guys are just inflows only. IBIT, inflows only here, right? And then GBTC's outflows only. So this is the 800-pound gorilla, essentially. So we'll have another one on this chart, which we don't have it yet here, but we'll have another candle here as a outflow day. So we'll have to see what happens in the next few days, but the flows still remain strong, at least for now. As long as liquidity is in the system, then flows will come. And at the end of the day, it's not just liquidity in the system as well. There's people who are sitting on very large, diverse portfolios, but they have no exposure to Bitcoin. So, you know, they've already got stuff they can either liquidate to buy Bitcoin. So that doesn't necessarily depend on liquidity coming into the system. And look at this. So MicroStrategy just bought more Bitcoin, buying tops until they're no longer tops, essentially. But BlackRock's about to surpass MicroStrategy in terms of owned Bitcoin in such a short period of time. I mean, you're talking about 20 trillion in assets under management, but arguably an entity that owns either directly or due to stake therein, an entity that owns just about every major company on the planet. If, you know, in terms of controlling stake and just how much they own and how much they can influence and control. So, I mean, this was bound to happen, but hey, good on Michael Saylor. Like the fact that he was able to get this much Bitcoin. Some of it's leveraged, a lot of it's leveraged actually, but yeah, it's really, really impressive. But BlackRock's about to take the crown, I guess, at least comparing these two. So we have James from Invest Answers with a halving target. So I'm apprehensive to do price targets this time around. I was actually pretty accurate with some of my targets back in the last bull run, but yeah, I think I overdid it a bit. So, but anyway, it's interesting to look at other people's price targets. And what do we have here? So if the inflows continue, so this is based on data. So this makes sense that this is based on the data and the sort of probably a mean of the inflows, something to that effect. He would explain in his videos, I'm sure, but he thinks we're going to hit 105K by halving based on the net inflows and probably other factors as well, but that would be insane. Certainly possible, but feels a bit moon boyish, but we'll have to see. We'll just have to see, right? It does make sense that if we keep pace, that we will get to 105K. But remember, as I said, if there's some sort of pause in global liquidity, then there's a good chance that we might get a grind sideways and this target will not be met. Nothing wrong with that. It'll get there eventually. It's just a matter of time. But interesting. Yeah, it's certainly possible that we hit 100K by the halving. I mean, it's really not that far away now. It's about a month we've got until the halving. So that would be a roughly 47% move. When you put it that way, that doesn't sound too crazy. I mean, this candle alone was 23%. So, you know, sounds a bit moon boyish, but it's certainly possible. If you folks are wondering why you're buying Bitcoin, well, this is the kind of stats you want to show them. So it used to cost 64,000 plus Bitcoin to buy a house in 2011. Now it costs 6 Bitcoin. So back in 2011, a new house cost $214,000 with very low interest rates. People could actually afford it. Now rates are high and a house costs $434K. So again, when people ask you, oh, why are you buying this stuff? Well, what you do is show them this sort of thing, and especially if they have no understanding of Bitcoin or anything like that, this alone should put some things into perspective. It's a pretty cool chart actually. That's posted by Rob from Digital Asset News. So XRP popped. It was kind of random out of the blue. I did actually catch this. Let's have a look here. So my strategy got me in down here, and then it just went ballistic. So yeah, I've been trading this using the BB, as in the BB trend trader. So there's a Heikin super trend on here as well, but I'm not actually using that for this strategy, but there was a whole confluence here anyway, so that was good for me. So I scaled into this position and it just went crazy. It's probably pulling back now. Let's have a look. Yep. Yeah, it's definitely getting a pullback. People taking profit after that massive pump. Seemed like it was kind of out of the blue. Didn't really make any sense, but we got similar sort of pumps, back here where we just kind of like, broke out a little bit, went about kind of sideways. This was like a buying line down here for me. That's the average true range line. And then just went ballistic. That was when Ripple won their case against the SEC. But that just went up like crazy, like 100%. And that just sold all of that off completely. So the pumps aren't super sustainable. This isn't a crazy pump though. So, this could just range and then take another leg up. Targets maybe $1. The next sort of resistance would be here. We already came into here though, so this might be something that we fill at least half of, or we go up to the next resistance, which is up here at $1.30. So we'll have to see. But this thing hasn't put in a new all-time high since 2017 or 2018 or whenever it was. Yeah, 2017, 18, the start of 18. That was when it put in its last all-time high. So it's just been, it couldn't do it last time just because of the headwinds due to the SEC court case and stuff. So it might have an opportunity to go this time, but I'm not a big XRP bull. I still own some. I bought some back in 2018 at the end of the year. Not big. It kind of looks like a crazy move, but when you compare it to like the last big pump, it's actually kind of nothing. But we'll have to see. Maybe XRP catches a bid at some point and makes another leg up, but we'll have to see, right? It's definitely broken structure, like the bearish sort of structure. We've got a bit of a cup and handle here. So here's your cup, here's your kind of handle. There's your cup and handle there. There's a little one there, or a bigger one here, and then boom, up. So you got a few things that sort of kind of show we could be getting some more upside. But it's sort of a bit of a channel here. It's not a tight channel. It's just a sort of, vague sort of ascending channel because we did break out of it pretty significantly here, but then came straight back into it and acted as resistance here. So yeah, maybe we just get some selling pressure here as well at around 80 cents. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about XRP. Don't know how long that'll take to play out, especially if we do get a bit of a pause, but we'll have to see. Let's talk narratives. So I just actually want to ask and let me know in the comments what you think if you wish to contribute to this, but which crypto narratives am I missing from this list? So these are things that I am most bullish on in terms of the crypto space, but I think this is just about everything that Web3 has to offer at this point. So we've got artificial intelligence, things like Fetch, and there's a bit of crossover between AI and DePIN as well, because Render is an AI play and a DePIN play respectively. So, you've got decentralized physical infrastructure networks, although DePIN, the N in DePIN is networks, so I've put in networks, but anyway, whatever. Modularity, so that's your Celestia, that's, breaking chains up into different protocols, processing different functions. Next gen L1, so that's your Sui, Say, so on and so forth, as in like the ones that sort of just came out this cycle. Gaming and GameFi, it's a very sort of untapped space, if you ask me. You got Gala and like individual game coins, but I think there's something on the horizon. There has to be something coming soon. We need something to pull gamers in, right? This is what we need. We need like a protocol. I don't think it exists yet, but something to pull like main AAA gamers in. So this is the thing that I think still needs some work. But for the most part, I mean, definitely it's there's a lot of merit in crypto and gaming. So it's definitely a space to watch, right? Web3 social and SoFi is, again, another very untapped market. We've got a few small offerings here or there, but for the most part, this still hasn't really been built out. I don't know if this is the cycle for SoFi. Maybe next cycle is what we need for SoFi, because we only have like 4 in 100 people with crypto at the moment. And retail's starting to show interest, but it's still not really here. So this, again, I think this is going to take a little bit longer. I mean, memes are a given. Like, I think memes are here to stay. I thought memes were dead last cycle, but then I saw that they just come back with a vengeance and end up being some of the only pumps you get in the sideways sort of accumulation phase, like last year, for example. So I think memes are here to stay. That's like our sort of inner gambling mentality and just wanting to have a bit of fun. And DeFi is, it might not be as sexy, but it's something that I love. But what other narratives are there in crypto? As far as I'm aware, these are all of them, but hey, maybe you know of one, and let me know in the comments below. Okay, time for some Solana news, ecosystem updates, and price info. So starting things off, price isn't here right now, but it was when I took this screenshot. But yeah, Solana hit 52-week highs during the Asia session. So I think that tells me that when the floodgates open in Hong Kong to Chinese retail investors, that Solana will rip. And I know that Solana is really popular in Hong Kong, for example, because when I go to the crypto meetups, like everyone's talking about NFT collections on Solana and Solana this and Solana that. And I love Solana too. That's why I feel at home in Hong Kong. But to be honest, it's one of these things where people are super bullish about Sui and Solana, and even some of the old dinosaur coins like EOS. Like Asia still love EOS, and they still pump that thing. Like it got 11%, I think, overnight. So as far as I'm concerned, I think that when the ETFs and when the exchanges and all that sort of stuff really and properly open up in Hong Kong, because it's still kind of filing and sort of setting up at the moment, with all the regulatory restraints, I think we're going to see some pretty bullish price action for Solana, but I think that's a given because we're going to see bullish price action for Solana anyway. So we won't be able to pinpoint it specifically on Asia, but I think just based on seeing this sort of 52-week high push in the Asia trading session, which is generally a sideways and consolidation sort of period, I think that's quite bullish for Solana. And the next point, which is a structural high, is 172, and 170, as I've mentioned before, is the new inflation adjusted all-time high. But the actual price all-time high quite clearly is not 170. Price all-time high is 160. So anyway, we'll just have to watch and see when and how that all plays out. Also, we have this fractal that I've shared a few times. I mean, it's looking pretty good. This fractal actually goes up to 380, I think. But yeah, it's sort of kind of on track, right? It looks like it's on track. So it's on its way very slowly, but it might not be very slowly. We won't hit this point where there's just no sell pressure for a brief period and it just rips up to new levels. So we'll have to see. New, at least recent levels anyway. But we'll just have to see how that all goes. But if we do get this, whatever this is, that would be really nice. But that's, you know, before April. So we'll have to see, right? Maybe we are cooking a god candle on Sol. We'll have to see. This is one thing that I thought was kind of crazy. Look at this premium on the Grayscale Solana Trust. Right now, Solana's worth $540 per Sol in the Grayscale Trust, which is absolutely insane. So this is TradFi / Boomer access to Solana. So look at this, past month, 200%. That's insane. So they don't even care. They're just buying this thing. So, you know, people like Kathy Wood, for example, and I'm going to show a number of other metrics as to why this could be happening, but it's 4x the current Sol price. How insane is that? And we thought we were degens, the boomers of the degens, buying this thing, like not even waiting for pullbacks, just throwing their money at it. So, I mean, that's pretty cool, if you ask me. I like the look of that. Even those who use sort of TradFi vectors to get into altcoins see the merit in Solana. And we talk about flows, right? I like to talk about the flows. So let's talk about the Solana flows. Solana digital asset investment products recorded 23.6 million in inflows last week, which is a lot. I mean, we were looking at Bitcoin before, and it's billions of dollars, but I mean, that's over the course of since the ETF sort of started. I think the roughly daily inflows for Bitcoin is like a few hundred million. So it's obviously nowhere near as big as Bitcoin, but I mean, for something like Solana, that's pretty impressive. And Solana's market cap is significantly lower too, so that's going to show in price as well. Meanwhile, Ethereum actually experienced outflows of $2.1 million. So that's interesting. So these are the inflows and outflows overall. So this is probably what's causing some of this crazy depeg on the GBTC Solana Bitcoin Trust. And a friendly reminder that Sol is only 1/10 of the market cap of ETH. So you talk about price appreciation potential, Solana has it in the bag. For example, you know, if you're leverage trading Solana, like if you're doing a 5x on your leverage trading or a 6x on leverage trading Solana, that's pretty nice. But you kind of need to do 10x if you want similar kind of gains for ETH, for example. So that kind of puts some things into perspective, hopefully. I'm not telling you to do 10x or 5x leverage. I'm just saying, you know, when you look at P&Ls and stuff like that and analyze that sort of information, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that, you know, if you want to see the same sort of P&L appreciation for ETH, then you need to go much higher because the market cap is significantly higher. Also, all-time high on Solana wallet addresses. So this is the number of new addresses on Solana network, 7-day moving average. Look at that, hit a new all-time high. More usage, non-voting user transactions than Ethereum, Arbitrum, Optimism, BNB, Tron, and Avalanche combined. Really? Wow. Okay, that's super bullish. Wow, that's I wasn't expecting that, but I mean, I'm here for it. Also, and you know, this is also playing into some of the sort of TradFi narrative attached to, you know, reasons why you sort of your TradFi crowd would be looking at Solana is Visa evaluated these layer 1 blockchains to onboard their settlement layer. Here were the results. What do you think they'll pick, right? What do you think they'll pick? So Solana was 1 block till confirmation, so approximately 0.4 seconds for settlement. And then you've got the next one is 2 seconds for Avalanche. That's like a 4x in terms of speed. Then we've got Flow, Algorand, Stellar, Tron. Tron's really far down. I think Tron USDT would be better anyway, because it's more liquid, but I think they want to use USDC by the looks of things. Arbitrum, how slow is that? That's an ETH L2. Is this the hope we have for ETH scaling? Because that's really bad. And then Ethereum, 3 minutes. I'm surprised it was 3 minutes. I'm even more surprised by the Polygon performance, 20 minutes. I think maybe just because there's not enough validators or something. I'm not sure what that's all about. This might be dependent on other factors as well, but I mean, Solana definitely wins. And, you know, how many people will be watching Visa, right? Quite a few, safe to say. We have some more statistics here. We've got breaking Solana overpowers Ethereum in 24-hour DEX volume for a second day in a row. So we had $2.62 billion in 24-hour volume. Ethereum was 2.53. As I said in my last video, and I've probably said in others as well, Solana is fast establishing itself as the retail chain. Like, absolutely. Like, this is where people are going. Ethereum gas is a meme. I even had a few posts to show in this video about Ethereum gas being a meme, but I'm like, I'm not going to drag Ethereum through the mud. It doesn't need that. But I'm just going to say it right now, like, Ethereum gas is an absolute meme. BSC is super centralized. Arbitrum, you know, don't get me wrong, I don't mind Arbitrum, but it doesn't really have too many other use cases. In terms of L1s, there's better DeFi on other L1s and stuff, but I just don't, the UX on the ETH L2s is just inferior to Solana anyway, but that's just my own personal preference. But when I, you know, saying all that stuff, there's a reason for it, and that's that this all is reflecting in the 24-hour DEX volume. People are going to Solana because it's a great experience. It's just easy to use, it's fast, it's cheap, onboarding's easy. You're getting these on and off ramps now, so you don't even need an exchange. Guac with their buying gift cards with meme coins. So there's just all this stuff. It's like removing friction essentially, and that's really what we need to really mainstream this stuff. And on and off ramps, you know, that is a massive pain point, right? It's one of the biggest things to overcome in crypto is the on and off ramps. So if we can get this ultimate killer on and off ramp that's not a centralized exchange, then you're going to see DEX volume just fly through the roof, right? More interaction with the Solana network. We had 794,000 wallets interacting with the ecosystem in the past 24 hours. That's a 14.8% growth. Not an all-time high. I think the all-time high was actually in Feb, surprisingly. I thought it would have been in December. We had a massive spike up in Feb. So we're getting some moves back to the upside. So if I have a look at where the source was, which is Step, this was exactly, yeah, so November last year was that a massive spike. Look at this. That was huge. And new token accounts, remember, is something that is used in DeFi. So if we see new token accounts, and that's also if you buy a token as well. So if you buy a token, like a fresh wallet buys a token, it has to create an account, and there's like rent associated, not ongoing rent, like a one-time rent fee, which you can always claim back. But this is a sign that people are, it's probably meme coin token accounts, let's be honest, but also probably DeFi as well. You got with all the Kamino and all that sort of stuff going. So this spike here to me tells me we've got new people using DeFi, a lot of people buying new tokens. So that's what this means to me. And then this is our active wallet. So there's our little peak here. And that's the one that was in that post, I believe, which was at the start of Feb though. So this is a spike here from the other day. Also quickly touch again on that Visa report that I spoke about briefly before. They compared the fee markets with Solana and Ethereum, and other gas-based networks. So they're comparing the parallel processing of Solana versus single-threaded sequential transaction processing. So this is, localized fee markets, which is what Solana has implemented or that are implementing currently. This sort of goes to show that there's localized congestion. So certain things will enter into sort of more of a congested state, whereas other things can then run through sort of behind or simultaneously. Parallel, whereas Ethereum, everything all sort of gets put into a line, the same line, and then just slowly funnels through. And then the more the network is demanded, the higher the network fees are. Like, so the gas just spikes up out of nowhere, which brings me back to that Ethereum gas meme that I mentioned before. But essentially the TLDR is Solana's localized fee market offers predictability and efficiency by isolating congestion. In contrast, for Ethereum and other gas-based networks, global congestion leads to volatile fees. And Solana is a gas-based network too, technically, but the gas is consistently lower due to the parallel execution and localized fee markets. So now a bit of points farming and airdrop farming updates. We've got Kamino Finance looking to reward the OG users and lower their multipliers as to reduce the dilution of points. So as more people come in, they will basically get significantly lower points as people who have been farming away for this whole time. And when I say farming, you could just be using the protocol as well and just incidentally getting points as well. But it's slowing down a lot. The OG users will get dedicated token allocations. Multiply feature won't give as many points as before, which is fine because recently that's been, well, you've had to pay to put your funds in there because the borrow rate for USDC has been so high. Multipliers have been heavily lowered. Points won't get as diluted as expected, and that's probably a nice move. And this is the original post from Kamino. They say, "We hear you. We'll be doing this right. Since Kamino went live, we made the point of listening to our community and genuine users with the aim of building great products that people love." And this was basically already something that they had in their plan, and they alluded to it in the announcement as well. However, they have decided to clarify to make sure everyone understands. OGs, we haven't forgotten you. This is a bit of a breath of fresh air for me personally, because I actually want to deploy all of my stablecoins on the next dip. And I've got still quite a lot of stablecoins, like more than I really should at this point in the cycle. And so, you know, and I really do want to farm points at the same time, right? So this is like going to be nice. So that means if I take some of my stablecoins out of Kamino, then I don't have to worry about the points FOMO. Is that a thing? I don't know. Does anyone else experience points FOMO? I mean, it depends on what it is. Some things you can just put straight back in there, but not everything you can, especially if I want to bridge to another chain or something. So an allocation of KMNO will be airdropped to OG users. So that's pretty cool for those of us who've been using it the whole time. This will be in addition to the 7% community allocation. So more details will follow soon. So there you go. Also, the JLP market boosts have come down significantly, unfortunately. I took advantage of that while it was there, although borrowing in the JLP pool is, I don't know, it's like 50% APY or something like that. So I'm not so sure that that's the best idea. But anyway, something else that people might be curious about is, okay, sure, you've got all these points. What does it even mean? Like, what is a point? And, you know, how can we translate that to something not necessarily tangible, but something we can look at to go, okay, roughly what will my airdrop be, right? Like, it's kind of nice to sort of work this stuff out. Now, this is going to change the more points are farmed. So this is based on a current kind of snapshot. Let's go over the math here, and I've definitely confirmed that this is accurate. So Gumshoe here has done a post here about calculating the Kamino airdrop. Imagine you have 10 million points, right? So 10 million points divided by 119 billion total points is, well, just look at that number. I'm not going to read it. Multiply it by 7% of the total supply. So remember, there's going to be an additional 7% on top of that, but I think that is not 4 points. I think that's probably based on how long you've been around for. But anyway, let's just go and stick to this math here, which is 700 million tokens. And there you go. There's your new revised figure. If you assume KMNO launches at a 1 billion fully diluted value market cap, you get a price per token at 1 cent, which gives you $5,882. This means that if you have 1 million, you'll get around 588 at that valuation. I think this is the right way to calculate it. Let me know if I'm wrong. And I decided to check it, and ChatGPT thinks it's all good. So I think Gumshoe's calculations were roughly accurate. And based on my points, roughly I'll get about 3,000 USD allocation, or roughly, I suppose, based on my current points. So that I've got just over 5 million. And that's obviously going to slow down a lot now with all the boosts turned down. So yeah, now you've got something to work with. So about 588 per million, roughly. So that's your figure. That's at least for now. And you know, because dilution's going to come down a lot anyway, we probably won't exceed these values by too much. So at least by the time, you know, things get announced and there's airdrop checkers and all that sort of stuff, at least for now, it just gives you a rough idea. So I spoke about Clone in one of my previous market recap videos, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it now. Now, Clone currently has a pegged version of other assets on Solana. So we've got Sui, we've got Arbitrum and Optimism currently, and you can provide leverage liquidity to the platform, or you can swap on the platform to earn points. They've actually got points multipliers for Pyth stakers. So if you're a Pyth staker, then you can go onto the Discord and claim your role there. It just goes through a website that essentially allows you to assign your wallet address to your Discord account, and then you get the role in there. So this is the tier, so 0 to 250, I guess it is. So less than 250 is a 1.2x multiplier. Less than 1,000 is a 1.4x multiplier. Less than, I guess that's greater than 1,000. I don't know. It says here 250 less Pyth staked minus. This looks terrible. I can't really, am I reading this right? I think I am. Anyway, I'm just going to say over 1,000 is a 1.6. It's the best I can really interpret this with. Anyway, whatever. Pyth is the oracle they use. You can see here. So oracles are the unsung heroes of DeFi. Yeah, well, that's kind of true. Serving as the bridge between real-world data and the blockchain. So this is them just rewarding the oracle that they use, essentially, or the people who are supporting the oracle they use. So another airdrop, essentially, for Pyth stakers. You could kind of call it that. I mean, I was already farming this thing before I knew it had boosts for Pyth, but at least, you know, now we know we get some additional advantages to staking our Pyth. So there you go, just another one, essentially, on top of the 2,000 that we got for the W token. So we might get some extra, at least points for clone with staking Pyth. So there you go. More rewards for Pyth stakers. There you go. So drip drop 2 for Pythians. So fantastic art. Thanks our collaboration with SEMA and Drip House. So Cosmos Oracle, Legendary, Mystic, Gator, Rare. I think these are just NFTs, right? So this is kind of cool. Might get some just random NFT drops, I guess, to Pyth stakers. So go to Drip House and see if you're eligible for this. This is some pretty cool looking art. No Solana video would be complete without an update to some Jupiter stats. So Jupiter Exchange total volume surpasses $100 billion in total, which is pretty crazy. So people loving Jupiter, no doubt about that. And the number of wallets staking Jupe surpasses 200,000. So that's a total of 215 million in Jupe stake. And I've got a decent amount. I've got about 8,000 locked up, I believe, in the DAO. And I actually voted for something, and I'm going to go into that. So this was the first proper vote in the DAO, and that was for a couple of protocols to launch on the LFG, which is the Launchpad for Jupiter. And the two winners were ZeusNetwork, which I briefly covered in the last video. Didn't really go into too much detail. And Sharkify, which is a NFT lending and borrowing protocol, I believe. Yeah, lend and borrow SOL instantly against your NFTs. I'm bullish and voted for ZeusNetwork. Again, I'm a boomer, so technically this is my 4th cycle, which goes to show that like I've been around for way too long. But it's my 3rd active cycle, because the first one I just sort of bought and I was like, wow, what's going on? This thing's going ballistic. And this one I'm like, this is my, I would say my 3rd active cycle. And so, you know, I love anything where Bitcoin is integrated, essentially, as long as it's not Alameda that controls it. And these guys are looking to really build out functionality with Bitcoin and the Solana network. That's why I'm super bullish on them. And they won as well as Sharkify, so good on them, which means they'll get launched soon on the LFG. And at the time of this post, almost 60% of the vote and 100 million worth of Jupe went into the Zeus layer. So if the Jupiter Exchange community or Olympians want permissionless communication layer between Bitcoin and Solana, let's make it happen. Why not? We will be announcing several important updates in the coming days. So they've got a technical roadmap coming out, recruitment for the Olympians Council, they call it the mob, educational material, so why Zeus layer? And this is just the beginning of their exciting journey with the Zeus layer, so be prepared. So yep, I definitely voted for this because I'm super bullish on the concept of it. And they talk about yield, earning yield and stuff on Bitcoin. You can definitely earn yield on Bitcoin at the moment. It's just like 0.02% or whatever. But if we can start seeing some decent yield for Bitcoin on Solana, now that's what I'm here for. And I don't know why it's never really good. I guess people just don't degen against their Bitcoin, I guess, or even just bridge it in. Well, we're seeing a bit of a shift here, right? We're seeing a bit of a shift here. And why do I say that? Well, it looks like the market is indicating there is interest in Solana being a BTC L2 of sorts. And that's the Zeus protocol, right? So that's launching on the LFG, and hopefully with more yield opportunities than the current offerings. So check this out. Breaking Bitcoin on Solana, which is wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, and TBTC, which is true Bitcoin. Market cap hits 57 million, which is an all-time high. So these are the current offerings. We used to have SOBTC, and I can't remember the other one for some reason. I guess motivated forgetting. It's a psychology term, just because those wrecked me. So I don't, maybe my brain's just like, don't remember that. But anyway, wrapped Bitcoin and true Bitcoin are new anyway, right? So they've only been around for a few years anyway, post the FTX collapse. So yeah, I mean, all-time high makes sense. I would like to compare this to SOBTC, admittedly. because there were some decent integrations in the Solana network with Solid Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, this just showing that people want to swap and trade their Bitcoin on Solana. And that's why I say it's, potentially an L2 for Bitcoin, is that it's fast, it's cheap, it's very low friction these days, with regards to getting into the network. So there you go. There's a bit of a potential narrative brewing, and ZeusNetwork plays right into it. So our Olympians just getting stronger and stronger. So let's welcome early backers. Anatoly Yakovenko, so the co-founder of Solana, Rukong, which is founder of Mechanism Capital and the co-founder of Stacks, which is a Bitcoin L2. How's this? So Stacks, I mean, I'm sure we all know Stacks by now, right? Have actually backed the ZeusNetwork. That's pretty cool. That's quite respectable, right? So together, we will bring the ZeusNetwork to become the most advanced cross-chain communication platform, shaping the future of cross-chain innovation. So I don't know, it's just kind of a word salad. Still kind of cool. And they had a alpha community call, which if you're curious about this, you can go and have a listen. But it's time to bring back BTC Eco into Sol. So, that's the thing. We do have, as I said, we've got Wrap Bitcoin and True Bitcoin, but in terms of yield opportunities, just not there. Not the same as Solid BTC, because at some points with Solid BTC, I was earning like 5 to 10% APY on Bitcoin. I mean, that's just amazing, right? You just don't get that anymore. So maybe with these guys, we'll start to see decent yield on Bitcoin. And do you know what? If there's decent yield on Bitcoin, well, first of all, it'll get crushed because Bitcoin whales will just flood in and then, essentially crush the yield. But that just brings more of the old boomers into Solana. I go into a little bit more detail in this post as well, where, ever since Alameda pulled control of the only 2 ways to get Bitcoin into Solana, we've had no bridge in, and we still have no bridge in. Although Wormhole, I think, was working on something to get native Bitcoin into Solana, but I still haven't seen anything. I mean, when I go into Portal, I don't see, or Wormhole, I don't see anything in there. So I think that these guys will be setting that up. And their first mission is, and this is in their docs, introducing Apollo as the first dApp on ZeusNetwork, enabling native Bitcoin staking and providing 2-way pegged ZBTC at a 1-to-1 ratio on Solana. Again, we'll have to see how they maintain their peg, and that's going to be very important. But at least we know this isn't controlled by Alameda or some other dodgy entity, which is kind of important because we don't want any more depegging. I still have 0.1 SOBTC, and do you know what that's worth right now? $1,000. Oh, if even. I think it's not even worth that. So there you go. But yeah, integration into DeFi. This is just going to be great. Making BTC Yeild earning a reality. Cook stating that they're talking about whiff on Bloomberg. They're probably making fun of it, if anything, to be honest. But Solana shitters are going to cook forever. Every normie is coming. So there you go. There's some more potential retail inflows, if you will, into the Solana ecosystem. You're getting whiff mentioned on Bloomberg, which is pretty nuts. But I feel like if they're going to mention it, they're just going to be like, what is this whiff thing? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, this is culture. This is crypto culture. You just don't get it because you're if you're not here and you don't see it, then if you know, right? Another thing that happened was insane is I just had, and I think I mentioned this on my last video, is this Pepe on Sol. So this actually came out 3 months before the one on Ethereum. So Pepe on Sol. It's this one. I'm sure you've seen this. It went up 15,000%. So this is where I bought it, all the way down here. It just went crazy. I only put like $100 into this thing, or 15,000. I thought these moves just didn't happen anymore, but if you get into the right thing at the right time, then those moves are still possible. But anyway, I captured a very small percentage of this move, but I don't even care because, hey, that's just nuts. To me, this is actually a cool sort of thing to see, is that these sort of moves can still occur, but it's meme coin degenerates that get these percentages, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on where you're coming from. So also with regards to the DePIN narrative on Solana, so renders up 200% in just over a month. That's crazy. It's a dominant force. It's a really decent move for a proper DePIN play. So yeah, this is the decentralized physical infrastructure network narrative, and Solana has really positioned itself kind of perfectly for it, which is why we're seeing most of them appear on Solana. Also, if you're a holder of Arweve, well, you must be pretty happy at the moment. It's gone up 4x over the last month. Absolutely insane, primarily due to news. Huge congrats to the Arweve team and holders. For those unfamiliar, GensysGo, which is Shadow, or SHDW, you've seen it, has been building Dagger, which shares a strikingly similar architecture with AO the computer. Both operate in a leaderless and asynchronous manner. Furthermore, both projects are currently in testnet phase. So if you want to check it out, you can come over to the dashboard and check it out. So I'll show you in a sec, but it's reassuring to witness yet another data storage protocol acknowledging the necessity for a decentralized, scalable, back-end consensus mechanism capable of meeting the growing demands for rapid and easily accessible data. Also, let's compare the market caps. So what has more upside potential? Wow, Arweve's at a $3 billion market cap. Crazy is that. $192 million. This thing is tiny compared to Arweve. So upside potential, not financial advice. This is the Dagger dashboard. Looks pretty cool. Bit of green and gray going on here. I've actually signed into this and used this. I don't know if you want to check this out. If this is interesting to you, then come check it out and see. I don't know. Just check it out if you really want to. But anyway, that's something interesting. I do own some Shadow personally. Shadow and the Dagger dashboard will allow for most of the same stuff that we'll see, that we're seeing on the AO decentralized computer and workflow. I mentioned the IONet airdrop on the last video. So there is a airdrop thread here if you want to follow along with that. I think it's just the same stuff as what I said in the last video, which is join the Discord, take part in the Discord, or I guess contribute in it, do the Galaxy quests, I think they call them, and actively use the products on their website. So I thought I'd touch on that since I mentioned it last video. Now, this is something that I just want to put some stuff into perspective, I suppose. And yeah, this just is what it is. So in January 2023, I put 400 Solana into staking. So I actually had more than this that I had in staking, but that was in a different wallet, and I prematurely sold that other Sol. And then when I bought it back a little higher, I ended up putting it into like Jito and B Sol and M Sol and stuff. So I've got no way of really tracking that, but I still have this 400 untouched, right? So this was when Solana was worth about $13. I did this. So at the time it was a $5,800 investment. And so far from staking, it's generated 26.9. It's actually 27.03 because some more rewards came through today. 27 in Sol, or 26.9. And at the time of 150, which is up a little bit on that, it's $4,035 just from staking. How crazy is that? So, we talk about dividends and stuff in the stock market. This is dividends right here. This thing is just shelling out cash. If Solana hits like $300, and by the time it hits that this is like 30. I know it's all pie in the sky, but that's $9,000. Like, that's pretty crazy just from staking. So, I mean, that's nice. That's really, really nice. But yeah, as I say in this, I'll let you work out what that's worth now. Obviously, like, this is not to gloat. I'm just saying, like, the staking is serious business. It's really cool. And that's just with the Phantom validator. There's other validators that use MEV rewards and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe I'll probably redelegate into MEV rewards, because validator.com posted below. They're trying to snipe me from the from the Phantom validator, but I guess that's pretty cool. 8.1% APY. So there you go. Maybe I'll do that. And this is validator.com, which I believe is Seb Montgomery's validator for Solana, who's another influencer, obviously a lot bigger than me, but he's Solana only, and I am a crypto lover as a whole. They say never get married to a chain, but I think if anything, I'm in a polyamorous relationship between Solana and Injective, I suppose, which brings me to Injective. So let's cover that. So Injective ecosystem updates. So we've got Injective is literally coming for it all. Faders will cope. So I massively increased my Injective position in the last few days by scaling in using Helix, put in a whole bunch of limit orders, and they all filled, maybe except for one, but now Injective is a significantly larger part of my portfolio. So because I'm just so bullish on it that it didn't make any sense for me to have as little as I did. But anyway, so now tracking Injective's inEVM will be in DeFi Llama. inEVM, developed by Injective, is an Ethereum aligned rollup that enables high-speed, low-cost dApp development with full interoperability across Ethereum, Cosmos, and Solana ecosystems. How crazy is this? I love this. Absolutely love this. This is the whole Cosmos theory, right? Or narrative is the interoperability. Well, this is Ethereum and Solana like coming together, because they've got the SVM in SVM as well as the inEVM as well as being in the Cosmos ecosystem. This is great. And so we'll be able to see specific dApps that are using the inEVM, and you'll see this will be the symbol here, just the Injective logo with the little Ethereum logo on it. And this to me is similar to Aurora to Nia. So this is like kind of the same sort of deal, but it's not a completely different product. Because like Aurora just felt like a completely different product. It's still, when you look at the layers on Nia, and Nia's been going crazy lately in terms of price appreciation, and it's quite a large part of my portfolio as well. And I like Nia a lot. It's just nothing has really sparked my interest over there to warrant dedicating chunks of video to it. But that's kind of, I felt a bit quite fragmented, I suppose, with the whole Aurora thing. Like I want to see how frictionless this is. Like if it's interoperable to a point where it's just like a really kind of seamless transfer between Ethereum, Solana, and EVM, and maybe the dApps actually work together, that would be really cool. We'll have to see what this actually ends up meaning in the long run, but at least conceptually, this is great, and I really am looking forward to see where they take this. But we'll see this pop up in DeFi Llama, and there'll be a dedicated section to it, so we'll be able to see some more stuff building out there. I don't know how many sort of retail participants, how many people know about Injective, or if it's still kind of unknown to people. But I guess when you use it, you sort of fall in love with it, that's for sure. But you have to use it first. So maybe this will reduce friction. We just need to reduce friction, right? It's kind of the aim of the game here. Also, we've got BabyDOJO is live on Dojo Swap website at least, and CoinHall with insane liquidity and market cap. So there's liquidity 1.37 million off the bat. And the market cap is 50 million just straight up already. How crazy is that? So people might be a little overly bullish about this because this might be something that's just sold off aggressively. So don't get too bullish and get let down. But, I'm still kind of bullish on this. I'm not going to sell it because whatever, I don't care. It's probably a very small amount of money. And I don't have trouble taking profits when it's a very large sum of money, but when it's a small amount of money, that's when I have trouble taking profit. If it's like $500-600 or something, I'm like, I'm not going to sell it. So that's why I need to always have large amounts of things. Otherwise, I just never end up selling them. But anyway, that's not the reason why I won't be selling this. I actually want to see what the reflections do. So claiming will be live on the 12th of March, which is tomorrow. So there you go. Probably nothing, but quants have burnt $400,000 worth of Injective. That's crazy. So there's more supply taken off and out of the market. And we've had 500 million on-chain transactions so far on Injective. So there you go, it's surpassed 500 million, and it's just the beginning, right? Bit of a follow-up on the Black Panther vaults. So these were the trading bots. We've got, I've got 2 of the trend following bots, one for BNB and one for Injective, and then one grid bot for Bitcoin. And those are up. So the BNB bot is up 60% almost. The Injective trend following bot's up about 8%, and the BTC grid trading bot is up about 15%. So that's pretty cool. It's a very small amount of capital, but I thought I'd throw some stuff at this and see what it would do. And hey, it's doing all right. Next airdrop on Dojo Swap is the ONI token, which is now claimable. You can just come here and click on that, or just type that out, or whatever. If you are eligible. Users from Oni Kage LP. Oni Kage. This is a character from Tenchu. I don't even know what Tenchu is. Yeah, let me type this in. I'll show you what I mean. This guy. Some video game from the 90s. Some Japanese ninja game. There you go. There's Oni Kage. So there you go. So this is the LP that we're, the eligibility for. Not really. Anyway, this is not something that I have anything in, so I don't think I actually am eligible for this one. But anyway, it's just a new airdrop on the Dojo platform. And I think the next kind of big deal, at least as far as I'm concerned, is the HDRO token launch. It's almost done. So this is being launched on Mito Finance. Moon App Official has opened up registration and is live, so don't forget to participate. Moon App allocation is 0.5%, price is 0.1. So, I mean, I'm not using the Moon App Launchpad. I'm actually using Mito Finance, but you can use this one if you want. I just prefer the Mito Finance Launchpad, so let's have a look. And I wasn't lying when I said in my last video that I was going to add to this position. Right now I've got, still not a lot, but I've got 15 Injective in here. So that's kind of my allocation for this Launchpad. Now remember, some of the biggest gains you can get in crypto are from Launchpads. So again, this is the biggest protocol on DeFi Llama. So when you look at Injective on DeFi Llama, you'll see Hydra Protocol as the biggest thing. So people that come to look at the DeFi prospects on Injective will see that and be like, oh, what's this thing? And it's by about 10 million as well, right? So this is why I have decided to really try and participate in this, because again, it's the #1 protocol on Injective by TVL. So that means it's got a lot of potential for attention, right? So, you get people who will go into DeFi Llama and be like, oh, I want to invest in the chain, right? So I want to invest or throw some money at a token in the chain. They'll see, well, this is the #1 protocol on Injective, so let's just buy their token. So that's why I was like, well, getting into a Launchpad for this seems like a pretty smart idea. Might just dump immediately, though, admittedly, and that's something that definitely happens. But anyway, I've decided to throw some Injective this way. And when I claim it, I'll probably keep some of it and then sell some other of it, because I don't really want it to bring my Injective balance down, because that's 15 Injective which is not that much, but I really want this as my like part of my moon bag for Injective, so that's why I'll just keep a bit of it. But anyway, having exposure to this token, I feel like might be a good idea, but I don't know. It's not financial advice, obviously. It's up to you what you do, obviously. But I think based on those couple of things, it might be worth it. And hey, even if you decide to come in and do this and then sell it as soon as it drops, then that's perfectly fine as well. Because most of the time, whatever you spend in a Launchpad, the price on launch is a fair bit higher, generally speaking. And then if you hold on to it for a longer period of time through the drawdown period, when attention comes to the chain, then when people want to sort of step up their degen game, they'll invest in more ecosystem tokens. So that's where this will probably start to go up, essentially. So it'll be that big drawdown period and then probably come up a little bit after. And that's just very typical of most Launchpad tokens. So there's a lot shipping on Injective. So coming weeks will be fire. So we're wrapping up another productive week. Let's highlight recent key Injective releases. So we've got the Injective inEVM. It's a full blog post on it, but I've covered enough on it, I think. CW20 token reflection standard by Dojo Swap. There you go. Further to what I mentioned before. And then the Injective and Athena integration. So this is Athena Fi. This is enabling the internet bond. And what does that even mean? Good question. It's a yield-bearing stablecoin. So SUSDE. APY 67.2%. I'm guessing that'll get crushed eventually anyway. We've got Arthur Hayes backing it, Binance, OKX, Bybit, Deribit, Dragonfly. So that's pretty crazy. 62%. I mean, the more popular this is, the more this will come down. So it's not like Encore or whatever, you know, where with guaranteed yield, this is all based on split up based on the number of stakers. So anyway, synthetic dollar and internet native yield. So there you go. There's a like kind of USDY on the Ethereum L2s like Mantle and stuff. That's what when I've got stable coins in Mantle, I hold them in USDY, for example. So this is their version of something like that, I suppose, but with a significantly higher yield, at least for now. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, then please give the video a like and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this and hit that bell notification if you want more alerts when my videos come out. And go and give me a follow on X if you want the latest developments and basically most of the things that I cover in these videos in real time. And I'll see you on the next one. This is Kryptolytix signing out. Have a good one.